Mr. Yashwanthan Manivannan sir to take over the dais.
Thank you so much for the great introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a long day. We are well behind schedule. We're all comfortable in English, Tamil, perfect. So this session was supposed to start at 12:20 and finish at 1. We are well past time. We are at 1:46, right during your lunch. No, it can be overwhelming, it can be tiring. Let's do a small activity to start. Chinna activity, just to get our blood flowing. Huh? Can we? I know you're all tired. I've been on the other side, so I know how hard it is to sit for continuous amount of time, right? Be it a lecture, be it a class. It's just very difficult. There's a lot of information going through your head, right? Naraya information. From the morning, there will be multiple speakers telling you all about disruption, what's happening, innovation, technological advancements, all of this is, right? All of this is happening. So it can get a little overwhelming. I understand. I've been there on the other side. So a small activity. Activity is very simple. 5 questions, rapid fire, very easy. I'll ask all of you to stand up. All of you stand up. Quick activity. I know this is to get your blood flowing. Illana, after 30 minutes, I know I'll not have your attention if I don't have your blood flowing and I don't have your attention in my hands. Okay? The activity is very simple. I'm going to tell you 2 words. 2 words. Contradictory statements. This is something that I learned from all of you. So contradictory statements. And if you like or if you prefer the first word, you stand. First word, okay? If you like the first word, if you agree to the first word, you stand. If you agree to the second word, you sit. Easy. We'll do one example. It's kind of a rapid fire. Quick. Okay? First word, coffee or tea? If you like coffee, you stand. If you like tea, you sit. Okay. Stand up again. Everyone knows. Everyone got it, right? Enna pannum therinjirucha? All of you know what needs to be done? Okay, car or bike? Okay, car or bike? Bike. Okay, a lot of people still prefer cars. Get up. Quick. Human intelligence or artificial intelligence? Human intelligence or artificial intelligence? Human intelligence, right? Great. Awesome. Get up. I know this is very close to Coimbatourean's heart. Mountains or beaches? Mountains? Okay. Beaches? Okay. Good to see. Get up again. Get up. Quick. Last, controversial question. I'm from an engineering background. So, engineering or management? Both. Yeah, they both work together, right? Great. They both work together. Awesome. So, great. You can all sit down. Awesome. Elladukku konjam ukante irundadukku guys got a refresher. I have your attention. Can we go ahead? I have a few slides, 6 slides. Not a lot of information on those slides. I'm going to take you through a story of how disruption has changed innovation. Okay, well. Meanwhile, all of you have your phones. Pull out your phones on the slide. Pull out your phones. Go to this website. Can we turn off the lights, please? Can everyone go to this website called menti.com? This is a quick poll. Or a chinna poll madri to understand what you guys know about disruption, what you guys know about innovation, just to give you an idea. So go to menti.com. You'll be asked a code. Or code enter pandra box irka. You all have a box to enter the code. The code is over there. It's 2536 Everyone got it? 2536 That's the code. Everyone have it? Perfect. Can we go? Next slide. Adila, on the computer. Yes. Okay. So this is an open-ended question. Very simple question. You can write whatever answers that comes to your mind. It can be anything. So what comes to your mind when you think about disruptive innovation? It can be real, it can be imaginary, it can be whatever. Your imagination is limitless. There's no limit to it. Whatever it is. Unga college experience as students of BS MED, what do you think unga college experience to improve your college experience, what would be a disruptive innovation? AI, great. Can you have more responses? Only one person typed AI. New technology, new market, great. What else? What else? Innovation, okay. IoT usage, robot professor, okay. VR, AI. To all the faculty, they want robot professors. So, and only when you have, see, it's great that you guys have, can think of these ideas as something, as a disruptive innovation to improve your college life, but there are limitations as well. So, a lot of people sticking to AI, IoT usage, humble innovation, being human, blockchain, continuous changes, home education, virtual classes, great. I would have loved it. Guys, I am a 90s kid. Seriously, like, home education, virtual classes, na jolly argo. You guys were very lucky to be schooled when there was COVID, right? Probably you guys were in college. Very, very lucky. So practical, change, chat GPT. Awesome. So great responses, right? So now when you think of how can you improve your college experience, you can come up with certain ideas. And if you look at all of this, this is not new. Is anything new? But it changes the way, the way that you see college, the way you perceive education, the way you look at your academic space, whatever it is, right? Your learning experience. That's exactly what happens when you involve or when you use disruptive innovation in business. Next slide. Next question. So which recent innovation has disrupted your college life the most? There are few options: on-demand food delivery, Swiggy, Zomato. Second thing is online streaming services, Netflix, Prime Video, Hotstar, whatever it is, Jio Cinema, whatever it is. Rise of online learning platforms and peer-to-peer tutoring apps. There is no right or wrong questions here. It's just to analyze like how far innovation has impacted you in your everyday life. Wow, I'm actually very happy to see that rise of online learning platforms has helped you disrupt your college life. I'm a great foodie. I love my food. My preference would have been on-demand food delivery. So, great. So, this gives you an idea, right? So, these are all things that have changed the way that we think, changed the way that we interact. And some of you said we would want a robo professor, we would want virtual classes and all of that stuff. That has changed everything, right? Next slide. Can you have the next slide, please? Next slide. Perfect. Imagine you're all going to graduate MBA, going to get to the job market. Imagine if your dream job, let's say you want to get placed in the Big Four, or let's say you want to start your own entrepreneurial journey. Imagine if that gets disrupted by something that's happening. What will you do? What will you guys do? So MBA முடிக்கிறீங்க, MBA முடிச்சுட்டு you're passing out of the college, and then you're thinking, okay, I'm going to start my own company, I'm going to start my own entrepreneurial venture, or I'm going to get placed. What if something comes in the way and you're not able to do that? What will you do? Go back to college, reinvent yourself. That's reinventing yourself, right? Going back, reinventing yourself. See it as an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Panic and switch career paths. Protest against the change. Good. Nothing happens without a lobby, right? Lobbying is very important. We were just talking about certain improvements in the renewable energy space, and lobbying plays a huge role. Correct? So yeah, see it as an opportunity to reinvent yourself. That is where disruption, that's where innovation comes into play. When you face a hurdle, when you face a bottleneck, you don't stop there. You change. You think, okay, what's stopping me? How do I do it different? It's not that you're doing it wrong. நீங்க தப்பு பண்ணல. That's not happening. Just because you're in that space doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just gives you an opportunity to change the way you think, change the way you have to think about how it's impacting others, and also change the status quo. Great. Last question. So let's say As MBA students, you've been given the task, you are heading a great company, let's say KPMG, Deloitte, or Goldman Sachs, whatever it is. And you have the opportunity to develop a disruptive product. Or you are heading that team that, okay, I am in charge of developing this product. Or let's say, Bharatiya University, okay, like you're coming up with a solution which is going to revolutionize education. What will be a key focus? What will convince the fellow students? So, like you will graduate, but it has to be very effective for other students, right? Who come after you. MBA mudichittu innoruthanga varuvanga. What will get them to use your product? There are 4 options there. Lower prices, great. Free samples and giveaways. A social cause they care about. Unmatched convenience or speed. Great. Perfect. Perfect. Now, change this slide. You can do next slide. Okay. So, like, to give you guys an example of disruptive innovation and how it has changed business, I do a lot of guest lectures. I do a lot of workshops to college students. What I did right now is a disruption. Purinjada? There have been multiple speakers. Everyone, like there are like 3 speakers. Since I got here, there were 3 speakers. They came, 2 of them stood in the podium. Very, very informative content. Very knowledgeable content. They're experienced. They're pioneers in their industry. They are from a very technical background, very sound background. But, like, I know I'm contradicting this, but how do you think this session was different? Don't you think I try to understand, okay, what is your mentality? Where do you guys stand? Because I am given the responsibility of doing a session at 1:30 in the afternoon without you guys having lunch. It's a difficult thing. Definitely a difficult thing, right? So I had to come up with something. Enak in the poll, I created this poll thinking that, okay, I might use it. But it worked out in a really good way. You guys saw this. So if this is my business, I disrupted the way I think. The way that I thought, the way I worked. I have all your attention. I'm able to convey the message. And in the form of the poll, all of you understood what disruption is. You had an option. There's no right or wrong. All of it was open-ended questions or multiple choice questions. There was no true or false. Idu correct, idu tappundradilla. But you guys understood, right? Disruptive innovation na food delivery ilirundu online learning platforms potom, like be it peer-to-peer learning opportunities. And when I asked you what would disrupt your experience, you all said affordability. You all said a social cause they care about. Correct? You all said free giveaways and samples. What does that imply? As MBA students, as future entrepreneurs, as future innovators, don't you think there's a lot of focus given to customers? There's a lot of focus given to customers, right? If you look at this slide, these are some of the key disruptions that happened since 1900s or 1800s. 1800s was when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Graham Bell, right? Yes, sorry. He invented the telephone. And now we are here in 2024. From that, we have a small phone, like everything. So this could do everything that you want. Isn't that a disruption? But it doesn't mean that disruptive innovation, as every other speaker said, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen back then. But the pace at which it happens has changed and rapidly accelerated, right? So 1880s lo or telephone kandupidichu 2024 la for you to have all those, like to have artificial intelligence built into your phone, that is almost around 1.5 centuries. But look at it. I wanted you to look at the example of 1973 when the first mobile phone was launched by Motorola. Since then, 50 years, just 50 years from the first cell phone by Motorola to a handheld device that can do way beyond computing than a computer that helps land satellites. That is innovation. That is disruptive innovation. And one thing as business students and business majors that I want you to understand is it's not always about the time it takes. It's about the first step. What am I doing right? Or where is it going wrong? What do I need to create value to the product or the design that I'm making? Understand? Purida. It's not about, you don't have to revolutionize. Pudusa, you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Pudusa or like you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Next slide. That's the same thing that Uber did. How many of you use Uber? Uber, Ola, Rapido. How many of you have used Oyo or Airbnb? You've used it, right? How many of you know about Tesla? Most of you know about Tesla. Thinking about it, they changed transportation industry. They changed accommodation industry. They changed hospitality industry as well, right? But if you look at it, they didn't change transportation. Uber munadi taxi irunduchu. Oyo, Airbnb munadi hotels irunduchu. Tesla munadi we had other cars. We had other forms of energy that we used. Correct. But they gave us an idea about changing an existing product, existing idea into something disruptive where it can be implemented everywhere when the impact grows significantly. Uber, now everyone, I think most of us, I can safely say most of us will have either like Uber, Ola or Rapido installed on our phones. Correct? We'll have Airbnb or Oyo or like Make My Trip, whatever it is. That is disruption, right? It's not about changing or problem. Like there are problems everywhere that we face every day. You don't have to come up with a new solution. You just have to think, how am I going to value or how am I going to like put or place this solution so that it creates a better impact? And I want you guys to know this, as business students, as business majors, you guys are going to be leaders. When you graduate, you guys with MBA backgrounds, you're going to be leaders, right? So it gives you that ability to take these decisions which can alter the whole product and the environment. Next slide, please. So it actually challenges you to, as I said, it challenges you to check the status quo. Okay, why am I doing this? What am I going to get from doing this? And also, why do we do it this way? For workshop, I researched. I've been doing multiple workshops and guest lectures. I researched. Okay, keynote address la enna pannalam. I researched when I was invited here. I thought, okay, what am I supposed to do in the keynote address? I was not even sure if I can do a presentation in a poll. Poll was an idea that came out of nowhere. I incorporated it. So why do you guys think keynote address na and the mic la nennukano, like you have to talk, rendu paper print panni vechirukano, you have to have an address, and who knows, even like it is my content writer who came up with the keynote speech for me. That paper is lying down there. But when I questioned, why do we have to do it this way? You can make it interesting, right? That's the same thing when it comes to business. There are traditional industries, there are industries that has been functioning for like multiple years, multiple decades. But when you start questioning, okay, why do we have to do it the same way? You have opportunity to innovate, you have opportunity to invent, you have an opportunity to come up with a more customer-friendly product. As I said, the example of Uber, Airbnb, and Tesla. Next slide, please. This is one thing that I want all of you to keep in mind. There are 4 steps for innovation or a disruptive innovation cycle. The first is inception. For anything, you have to have that idea. You have to conceive that idea into an action or a notion. And then the second is growth. As you start working on the idea, you will experience growth. But what the growth or no. Sometimes you might, sometimes you may not. Like, let's take an example of where a case study that I was studying about between Kingfisher and Indigo. Kanaraj, we were talking about Kingfisher a few minutes ago. Kingfisher and Indigo. All of you know about Kingfisher Airlines, right? In fact, my first flight in my life was Kingfisher Airlines from Chennai to Delhi. When I was 17 years old, I did my undergraduate degree abroad. So that is my first flight. 17 years old, I've never taken a flight, let alone be it a domestic flight. I had the first flight international and it was Kingfisher. It changed my idea about flying. Very glamorous air hostess, amazing planes. And that was what added value to Kingfisher, right? But why do you think as business students they failed? Why did Kingfisher fail? Why did Kingfisher fail? There's no business model? Only models, no business model. Great. True, very true, very, very true. What else? What else? Why did Kingfisher fail? No plan for long term? Organization structure is not there, or it's not well defined or well structured. What else? Students. The leader ran away. Great, right? So some of these examples, that gives you an idea, right? So Kingfisher was the topmost airline in India once upon a time. Now they're non-existent. Indigo was started in 2005 by a veteran who was in the travel industry for 20 years with no experience. He happened to get an aviation license and he started this company. And now Indigo has the top market share in Indian aviation. Correct. What happens different? The growth was difficult. The growth was difficult, definitely difficult. They had the idea to conceive that, okay, we need to make flying more affordable. India is a customer-centric market. Correct? All of us think about is budget. For example, if you take a flight from Coimbatore to Chennai, let's say that Air India is offering a flight for 2,500 rupees. No one offers a flight for 2,500 rupees. Let's assume Air India offers a flight for 2,500 rupees. You know, Air India gives you free food. And at the same time, Indigo offers you a flight for 1,800, no food. No food, smaller leg space, little cramped and all that stuff. What will you guys choose? Second one. What will you guys choose? Come on. I'm getting a lot of response from the alumni. I think it's great that we have a lot of... Take a premium ticket always, great. It works. Short-term travel. Correct, right. So, us, typical, the way that we think is, okay, even if we can save that amount of money, the budget is the first constraint, right? Budget is the first constraint. That's exactly what made Indigo win. And you know what else they did? For an airline start panna odane, what they did is they placed a bulk order of 100 aircrafts. That time Airbus was struggling a lot in India. They had a series of accidents. India had a very great market for Embraer. India had a very great market for Boeing. India had a market for Learjet. All of that. But Airbus was struggling to maintain the market share in India. So what these guys did is they seized that opportunity. Business leaders, guys. Business leaders. Next slide. It's beyond ideas. It's called the art of leadership. The reason why I have a chessboard there is chess is strategy. Do you guys agree? It's always about strategy. Placing the right coins at the right places so that you win or you have an upper hand at the end of the day. Correct. So what Indigo did is they negotiated to Airbus saying that, okay, I'm going to do a bulk deal, 100 aircrafts. I'm going to place an order for 100 aircrafts. Let's assume that the aircraft was $100 million. Or aircraft, $100 million. Airbus was struggling. Airbus needed that market share. These guys negotiated. They got the aircrafts for $85 million. Or aircraft, 100 million and 85 million vaangitaanga. They got 100 aircrafts. Another clever strategic move. Crazy guys. What they did? They got the aircraft was delivered. 15% profit la vaangitaanga. What they did is they sold the aircraft to leasing companies. It's an very interesting case study. They sold the aircraft to a leasing company. They made profit. $85 million. They sold the brand new aircraft without any livery, without any customization. They sold it to leasing companies for $100 million again. And what these guys did, they needed aircrafts to fly, right? They sold it for $100 million. They leased it for $50 million. They made a profit of $50 million. Out of nowhere, they made a profit. And it's just amazing, right? From zero, and anyone would have thought, such a huge capital investment, very risky. But they changed, and today in 2024, they are the market leaders. They have the highest share in the aviation industry and in our Indian market, right? So it's always in the art of leadership that drives the innovation. And going back to the cycles of disruptive innovation, the first is inception, the second is growth, after that is maturity. So let's say 2005, Indigo was conceived, the inception of Indigo happened in 2005. Growth happens slowly, steadily. 2024, I'm still sure that there's a lot of room for them to mature unless there is a disruption that happens in this industry. They are close to maturity. And do you think they'll stay there at the top? What happened to Kingfisher? They went to the same thing, started as an idea, they grew, they matured, and after that they declined because they are not able to innovate. They're not able to keep up with the market demands. They're not able to keep up with various other constraints that was happening in the Indian aviation industry. Next step. So it's also, the thing is, the main reason why we talk about disruptive innovation and the way that impacts business, as business students, 4 points. You have to think, why am I doing this? It's already covered. You have to think, why am I doing this? How is it going to add value to the customer? And how is it going to change the whole landscape of this particular industry? Second thing, customer takes focus. Whatever we use every day, don't you think we use it just because it's easy for us to access it? Somewhere they thought about customers in mind and they prioritized our needs so that at the end of the day they are making profits. How many of you use Instagram? All of you use Instagram, right? There's this amazing thing about Instagram. It's actually a stupid thing. I use Instagram for DMs and everything. So if you've noticed, Instagram has this notorious way of testing new apps, new features and layouts. So you log into Instagram, இன்னைக்கு login பண்ணீங்கன்னா, you'll have the home screen in the bottom, you'll have the DM in the top right, whatever it is, you have everything else there. But let's say like you open it after a week. Are you sure it'll be there? Don't you think Instagram is notorious because they change it all the time? What do you think they're doing by that? What are they achieving by doing that? Anyone? Why is Instagram doing that? So they are actually testing usage patterns. They are collecting data from users. They want to make this app at the end of the day to be a very user-friendly application so that you spend more time on it. And all of you think about it, all the big companies, 6 out of 10 big companies today, they don't have a product. You take Airbnb, you take Uber, you take Oyo, what else? You take Make My Trip, you take, what other example? You take Amazon. They don't have a product, right? Airbnb doesn't have hotels. Uber doesn't have cars. They don't have cars. They don't own cars. But they revolutionized the idea of transportation. They revolutionized the idea of accommodation, the hospitalization and everything. And they're just providing a platform. So your idea, your innovation doesn't necessarily have to be an idea or a product or a service. It can just be a platform as well. Next question. Next slide. Click on the middle. This is a video. This is actually from Harvard Business Review about how small companies are keeping up and how small companies are taking over big companies by using disruptive innovation. You can click in the middle. It's not working. Okay, so just quickly go into YouTube. So this video is about how small companies are able to take over big companies and then still stay ahead because they are disrupting the way that the product is seen, they are disrupting the way that the product is evolved and conceived and all that stuff. Okay. Just use that particular title, the Explainer Disruptive Innovation. See a 3-minute video. Meanwhile, until the video loads, does anyone have any questions? Any questions? Anything at all? I know I'm. Yes. Yes, please go ahead. what it means to, okay, just rephrasing your question. I'm in the solar industry. Dr. G. Barney's question is that since you are in this industry, there's a lot happening every day. So I'm in solar space, there is something happening in hydrogen, there's something happening, there's new innovations coming out. What does it mean to me when such innovations or such disruptions come into my business and how I see it, right? So one thing is that when I started, okay, pause for a minute, I'll just finish this thing and then. So when I started this company, the main idea was to be in the renewable energy space. I was very passionate about physics, I was very passionate about artificial intelligence as well, and I wanted to do something where we are in that market where we are able to provide some value to the customers. So what we did is, we don't primarily focus on solar. We do customized solar. So there's this huge significance given to the word customization. I am putting my customers at front. And I am agile. I am ready to make changes. So இப்போ நாளைக்கு வந்து, to answer your question, if hydrogen is the big thing அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்கன்னா, I have all the infrastructure to adapt, and if my customer needs it, I will do it. So agility plays a huge, huge role in being a disruptive innovator. You cannot just be traditional. Dr. Mahendran spoke, right? Traditional industries, from agriculture, drip irrigation, it was to save water, or it was to save water because there was water scarcity. But now, look at the way it has changed. So when you have a disruptive innovation or a disruptive product, it's very important to have the agility. And that is why I wanted to emphasize, it's always in the art of the leader, or it's the art of the leadership that takes it forward. Put your customers at front. Customer always plays an important role. You listen to your customer, you know what they want. Your product will succeed. எதுவும் வேணாங்க 90s கிட்ஸ்னு ஒரு இப்போ wherever you go, you see the small பெட்டி கடை where 90s kids snack-ன்ட்டு. It's a small thing, very small thing. Just because people from 90s and 80s, we longed, and the தேன் மிட்டாய், whatever it is, we were longing for that, right? புதுசாக எதுவும் கண்டுபிடிக்கல. That idea, it was already there. They just came up with a new solution where they put up these shops. They are making very good margins. They are very successful. Right? So it's always putting your customers at front, having that agility, having that acceptance towards change. That's exactly why Kingfisher was not able to succeed. They were not ready for a change. Okay? Can we go for the video, please?
How does a small, young company beat an industry giant on its own turf? Through what Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen calls disruptive innovation. It works like this. Big players focus on sustaining innovation, upgrading existing products and services to attract higher-paying customers. But soon, they start to ignore all the regular customers who just want simple, low-cost alternatives. That's where the entrepreneurial company jumps in, with that basic offering. The big guys stay focused on more profitable customers and begin to overserve, adding bells and whistles no one wants to pay for. Meanwhile, the disruptor improves its product to appeal to more people. By the time the incumbent notices, the disruptor has already started to take over the market. The classic example is the steel mini mills, which first produced low-quality rebar, then moved to sheet steel, stealing business from the large mills that had been dominant. More recent disruptors include car makers like Toyota and Hyundai, which launched with economy models, then added luxury features and brands. The only way for industry giants to fight back is by launching their own disruptive innovations. To succeed, they must treat the project as a separate unit with a different business model and growth expectations. Ask, what job do customers need to get done? Segment customers by job, not by product, market size, or demographics. And develop basic, low-cost ways to get the job done. That's how Procter & Gamble came up with Crest White Strips, a cheap do-it-yourself alternative to an expensive dental service. Disruptive innovation creates new markets and reshapes existing ones. To achieve growth in a fast-changing world, you want to be a disruptor. Don't be disrupted.
I want to actually focus on the last sentence that they said. You want to be a disruptor, don't be disruptive. That plays a huge role in terms of any business owners or in terms of any business as well. Can you go to the next slide, please? That's the last slide. So they had a few examples of how big companies can be disruptive and keep up with the small companies, right? So I think Dr. Subramaniam, he spoke about OpenAI, ChatGPT and all of that stuff, and Microsoft trying to come up with their own thing, Google trying to come up with their own thing. Don't you think like Microsoft, Google, they are big companies on their own, but why was OpenAI able to come up with the product first? And Copilot, Microsoft Copilot is based on OpenAI. It is based on GPT-4, correct? If you have used it. So Copilot is based on GPT-4 and they have partnered with OpenAI. So these small companies, they have the freedom, they have the leverage, they have the power to experiment with those ideas, but at the end of the day, they're not changing the dynamics. They can actually change their business plans and business models very efficiently and very quickly, so it gives them that leverage. And also one thing that we are very lucky to be in this phase of this 2024 or this era is that we have attained the best in globalization. So let's say like I am sitting in E-Road, I'm actually sitting in E-Road, and I manage a company in Canada and the US. That's because of the globalization and the disruptive innovation that has come into play, right? It gives us the access, and for you, like if you want to like push an idea, if you want to like turn an idea into a project, if you want to turn an idea into a product or a service or a platform, you have access. How many of you have heard about GoFundMe or Kickstarter? Like let's say that you're looking for some funding, you just put it online. If the product is really worthy and the customer feels that, okay, this is something that I want to invest in, they'll do it, right? One small example is there's something called as Emo. I have this, it's a desktop pet. So it's a small desktop pet, you keep it on top of your desk, it has a camera, it has a face, it has a display and everything. It started as a Kickstarter project, so it'll interact with you. So you can ask it questions, you can, it'll dance for you. It's like a mini robot, just a fun thing, very fun thing. It'll dance for you, it'll sing for you, it'll take pictures. It's more or less like having a small pet. If it is grumpy, you have to like, if there is a small kid at home and you want to like make sure that the kid feels warm and welcomed, you tap on their head, right? So Emo, you have to do it. They have a tap sensor on top of it. You have to tap and it will change, it will smile. The display will light up, it will smile. This was a Kickstarter project. This company, Living AI, they came up with another project. It's called, I think, I don't know, there's another thing. It's a transportable pet. So it's like a lanyard, you wear it, or you can put it on your pocket, it'll walk with you. So it's like you have AI wherever you go. It's like a mini robot, AIBI. AIBI is the product. Again, the whole thing was funded by Kickstarter. So there's no, like in terms of disruptive innovation, this is the best place, best time to be at. There's nothing that's stopping us. Just focus your customers. Just give a lot of importance to everything, all the data that's out there. Be agile. Be ready for a change. And think about it on how am I going to revolutionize the space rather than, okay, what is my product going to do? How is it going to help? How is it going to change the way we think about it? How is it the way that it's going to change everyone's life? Great. Thank you so much, guys. If there's any questions, we can take quickly, like 2 or 3 questions. If anyone has questions. Yes?
Thank you. How is this disruptive technology being used, or rather has been used, to solve major challenges such as poverty, which is a major global challenge right now? And because I understand not everyone, maybe people in the local village may not need ChatGPT right now, they may not have something to do with AI. So how is this technology helping them so that we can be able to solve this challenge? And secondly, are all the industries and every individual ready for this change? And what are the strategies in place, or what can we do to minimize resistance as far as disruptive innovation is concerned? Thank you.
Great questions. To answer the first question, Rebecca, right? To answer the first question, like what's the biggest disruptive, like if I may rephrase, how is disruptive innovations helping in aiding poverty or reducing poverty, right? So there are multiple, the way that I see it and I perceive it is there are multiple areas or multiple structure or multiple things that lead to poverty. It can be various things, and there are disruptive innovations happening in all these places. One example that I would like to give is there is poverty due to lack of education, lack of resources, lack of hygiene, or lack of basic resources such as water, food, or shelter. There are innovations that is happening where there are companies that have come up with solutions where you can construct a house with bare minimal set of resources, sand structures or clay structures, and those are disruptions that I see, like, so that everyone has a roof above, everyone has that shelter. And I think the three metrics, or in my perception, the three metrics that define poverty is the resources, food, water, and shelter. And in terms of food, there are a lot of disruption happening in the food industry to reduce food waste, to make sure that the food that's being produced from farmers or in agriculture directly reaches the end user without any chances or any opportunity for decay or any spoilage in the middle. So that is creating disruption. I'm talking about in the large scale because disruptive innovation helping in poverty is a very close or a niche area. I do not have a lot of expertise in it, just I'm telling you guys based on my perception. And the last thing is water. So there have been multiple disruptions in terms of getting access to clean water. There's been this bag that I've seen, I've used. So when you go camping, like you can just like take the bag, you can fill water anywhere, like whatever it is, or a dirty water pond, you can take water, and you just have to like rotate it, I think 3 or 4 times, and leave it for 15 minutes. I don't remember the name of it, and it gives you free potable water you can drink. So having these disruptions, I think it'll collectively, these are small steps that will help towards eliminating poverty, but still a long way to go. To answer your second question, how do we respond to the resistance? How can we limit the resistance? The resistance is always there. As we did in the poll, what if my dream job gets disrupted by something that comes? Some of you answered protest the change. Resistance will always be there, but I feel that resistance gives way for innovation. When you come up with an innovative solution, even the people who are resisting for the change, people who are lobbying for the change, lobbying against the change, will automatically be on board. Classic example is using of smartphones, getting people vaccinated. That's an example as well. There is a resistance for people who do not want to vaccinate, right? Get vaccinated. And just because there's innovation and studies to back up saying that, okay, this is good for you, people have like accepted it. So resistance will always be there, but I see it as a great strength where it gives us an opportunity to innovate better. Come up with a solution where everyone feels heard and welcomed.
So my appreciation to Mr. Yashwant for the wonderful speech. With the permission of Mr. Yashwant, I will add a point to Rebecca's question. Okay. So Rebecca, you asked the role of innovation in alleviating poverty. So I can give an example of innovation is, through the innovation, technology is given in the hands of individuals. Do you agree that?
Yes, I agree.
We are all using our smartphone with all apps, right? Social media platforms. So even people from undeveloped countries, they are given with this technology through which they are earning money. Do you agree that? Because that innovation is disruptive innovation from the individual's point of view. Because he can create a video and he can upload, right? So he is able to earn through this innovation as an individual. So in this way, poverty is minimized. Okay, so this is a simple example, right? So like this, we can give many examples for how technology is playing roles in people's life and all. So my question to Mr. Yashwant is, in the evolution of innovation, it is the technology development, innovation, technology development. So it is an evolution. So every short term or long term, we are going to innovate something new. So we are seeing, we are watching developments happening in innovation, technology, everything. So how do you differentiate its innovation, its disruptive innovation? So what is the difference, that line between these two?
Great question, puts me in a very tough spot. How do you differentiate innovation and disruptive innovation? What makes the difference, right?
Yes.
What makes, like, innovation happens every
So
day.
every,
Correct.
now and then we get new terms and words we are getting now. So that is the point I want to clarify.
Correct. So, to give you a simple idea about how disruptive, what is the difference between innovation and disruptive innovation? Innovation, cars, let's take the example of Uber. Let's take the simple example of Uber. Before that, we had cars, we had taxis. In taxis, the innovation, let's consider innovation was putting a meter in the taxi so that you can, it was an innovation, significant step. So we never knew, driver until then you were believing the driver to know whatever amount that was costing you for the whole trip. But then the innovation came in where you put a digital meter, and then it made it easier, everyone was able to access it. But if you look, that is innovation. But if you look at Uber, they totally democratized and they revolutionized the space. Same idea, taxi, same idea, meter enna and device varama phone la vanduchu. It makes it easier for you to access. Sometimes you can say, in those taxis with a meter, that the drivers, even today the auto drivers don't turn on the meter. That is a innovation. That is innovation. That helped. It solved the problem at once, but doesn't necessarily solve it all the time. It gave us access to customer, gave us access to what the customer insights were, but we're not a solution that can be scaled up. So when I think about disruptive innovation, I feel like it changes the whole dynamics of the industry. So just like how Uber did it, there's no meter. The app, you just phone panno. Now you just do everything in your app. One great example, I think Neil Tikani told me last time was, Ola went into 100 mainframes, right? 100 wireframes before they launched the actual application. Application la pata katta 4 parameter. From location to location, choose the type of car and hit book. But they went into 100 iterations of developing and coming up with the application because they wanted it to make it easy for the user to use at the end of the day. So that's exactly. So that is disruption. You know you have all the values, you know you have everything in your hand before you do it, and that has changed the way that we communicate. Even when I talk to you, I can understand from various studies. You can understand, right? Like how talking to people different, how using different terms work, how the emotions are different, and all of that stuff. And that, I would say, is disruptive innovation compared to innovation.
Yes. And also maximum benefit to the customers, right? Okay. Thank you so much.
Customer is always the priority.
Thank you.